My wife started earning twice my pay, then dumped me as dead weight and expected me to beg. My wife left me right after she started making about twice my salary, and she acted like I was supposed to beg her to stay. I'm Daniel, a high school history teacher. Pammy worked in corporate marketing. When we met, she was an intern, and I was the steady one with a paycheck. We used to joke that we'd be broke together. Then she started getting promoted, again and again. The last promotion came with a huge raise, easily double what I made. I was honestly proud of her. I brought home takeout to celebrate, and she smiled, but it felt rushed, like she was already thinking about the next thing. 2 weeks later, the little jabs started. Must be nice to have summers off, she'd say, even though I coached after school and worked a weekend job. If I suggested a cheap night in, she'd sigh and say she needed to be around ambitious people to stay motivated. I knew what she meant, not me. Her friends changed too. Suddenly it was all corporate people who talked in buzzwords and compared titles like trophies. At parties, she stopped saying, "my husband." She'd point at me and say, "This is Dan, he teaches," like it was a side hobby. One dinner party made it crystal clear. A guy asked what I did. I said, "I teach history." He laughed and said, "Oh, that's cute. Someone's gotta do it." I looked at Pammy, waiting for her to shut it down. She just kept talking and didn't even look my way. I felt my face get hot, then cold. After that, things got weird fast. She started buying expensive clothes and leaving the tags on the counter. She worked later, texted less, and when she did talk, it was like she was grading me. 6 months later, she came home early on a weekday, sat at the table, and folded her hands like a manager. "I've been thinking about us," she said. "We've grown in different directions. I need someone who matches my energy." I asked if there was someone else. She looked offended and said, "No, this is about me focusing on my career without feeling guilty about leaving you behind." That line hit harder than anything. She wasn't asking how I felt. She was announcing it. I realized she wanted drama, tears, promises. I was tired. I said, "If that's what you need, I won't stop you." Her eyes widened like I'd ruined her big moment. Then she added almost casually, "I already talked to a lawyer, so that was that." Papers showed up. Meetings happened. She moved fast, like checking items off a list. The divorce took 3 months. She told me I could keep the apartment because she was moving into a luxury high-rise that cost more each month than I made in 3. On her last day, she walked through the rooms, quiet, like she was trying to remember why she'd lived here at all. She carried out the last box, paused at the door, and left without a goodbye. I waited to fall apart. Instead, I felt lighter, like my chest wasn't being squeezed anymore. I started running in the mornings. I joined a hiking group. The people there talked about books, music, and weird trivia, not office politics. I posted a few pictures too, trails and coffee shops. Nothing fancy, just proof I was doing things. Some mutual friends told me Pammy was watching my posts and asking how I was handling it. 7 months after the divorce, I went into a bookstore to kill time and ended up talking to a woman near the history section. Her name was Anna. She was a librarian, and she actually got excited when I mentioned a book I loved. We talked for 20 minutes like it was nothing. She laughed at my dumb jokes. I didn't feel like I had to perform. We started seeing each other. It was simple. Dinner, walks, quiet nights that didn't feel like losing. Eventually, I posted a picture of us holding coffee in the same bookstore. A friend told me Pammy saw it and went quiet for a long time, then started asking questions like she was doing math. 9 months after the divorce, Pammy called me out of nowhere. I almost didn't answer, but I did. Her voice was careful. "I've been thinking about us," she said. "Maybe I made a mistake. Maybe we gave up too easily." I looked around my apartment, at Anna's sweater on the chair and her book on my table, and I felt calm. I asked, "What changed?" Pammy said something vague about perspective and realizing what mattered. I said, "I've moved on. I'm seeing someone and I'm happy." There was a long silence. Then she said, "Can we meet for coffee? For closure?" I said, "I already got my closure." Her voice cracked. "I thought you loved me." I said, "I did. For years. Through every late night and every promotion. But you stopped treating me like your partner." She tried to speak, but I kept going. "You didn't leave because I was dead weight. You left because you wanted me to feel small, and I'm not doing that again." She whispered my name like it was a hook. I said, "Goodbye, Pammy," and I hung up. I set my phone down, and the quiet felt steady. I took one deep breath and stood up. Now people are saying I was cold for hanging up. Was I wrong?